I spent a ton of time in Puerto Rico in my youth, and it is still, to this day, one of the most beautiful and culturally rich countries I have ever been to. There is a pride among Puerto Ricans you just do not see many places in the Western world, and I found it intoxicating. Hi, I'm Chris May, host of This Day in Weather History, a podcast from the Weather Network in Canada. Puerto Rico knows hurricanes and tropical storms, and why not? It's literally the dividing line between the Eastern and the Western Caribbean. It is right smack dab in the middle of everything. So when Hurricane Lenny walked in, you'd figure it would be a routine prep and wait. Nope, because Way Lenny got its moniker for a reason. This day in weather history. Lenny was the second strongest November Atlantic hurricane on record, behind the 1932 Cuba hurricane that we covered as part of our October 30th episode of this podcast dedicated to the perfect storm. Lenny was also the 12th tropical storm, 8th hurricane, and record-breaking 5th Cat 4 in the 1999 Atlantic hurricane season. Lenny entered the history books as the first ever hurricane in recorded history to threaten Puerto Rico from the west, and this is why they were caught unprepared. The fact that a hurricane was spinning was noted, but the unusual path it followed resulted in some harbors normally protected from hurricanes being underprepared or not at all, and were now suddenly facing a threat that they would otherwise not have realized. Here's how it timed out. November 13th. Lenny formed initially in the Western Caribbean Sea and maintained an unprecedented west-to-east track for its entire duration. This is where the nickname Way Lenny came from. November 15th, this day in weather history. Tropical storm Lenny reaches hurricane status south of Jamaica, then proceeds to pass south of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. November 16th. Hurricane Lenny underwent a 24-hour period of rapid deepening, reaching major hurricane status. It developed that signature well-defined circular eye that was visible from radar in San Juan, Puerto Rico. November 17th. Lenny now intensifies to a Category 4 hurricane over the northeastern Caribbean, reaching peak wind gusts of 155 miles per hour. That's close to 250 kilometers per hour, about 21 miles or 34 kilometers south of St. Croix in the United States Virgin Islands. Despite the hurricane's passage near here, causing widespread flooding and erosion at peak intensity, damage on the small island was only recorded as moderate, with the dollar figure posted at about $330 million in 1999 USD. It was the fifth storm to hit this intensity that year, setting a record for most Category 4 hurricanes in a season. And it was here when the hurricane made its closest approach to Puerto Rico, passing about 75 miles or 121 kilometers southeast. Strong wind and rainfall resulted in heavy crop damage in Puerto Rico's southeast. The highest rainfall total was just over 34 inches, just under 900 millimeters, and that took place on the French side of St. Martin. On the island, the hurricane killed 3 people and destroyed more than 200 properties. In nearby Antigua and Barbuda, the hurricane killed 1 person, while torrential rainfall there contaminated the local water supply. And on top of all this, there was significant storm damage as far south as Grenada, where high surf isolated towns from the capital city. It went on to be known colloquially as Way Lenny, but officially, after the 1999 Atlantic hurricane season, the name Lenny was officially retired and replaced with Lee. All after the storm that reached its hurricane status on November 15th of 1999, this day in weather history. Tomorrow is November 17th, and I will be covering a storm that normally would prompt a mass exodus to the Caribbean at this time of year. I will jump neck deep into the snow that buried much of western New York in the Great Buffalo Blizzard of 2014. Tomorrow's episode will also be accompanied on TV and online with another podcast video short shot right where I'm sitting right now in the TDI WH podcast recording studio. You can enjoy a short 2-minute video version of tomorrow's story that, when paired with the full version wherever you're listening to me right now, provides the full and complete picture. Speaking of pictures, it features photos and video from the event as it originally happened. Remember to subscribe, always for free, to this podcast if you have not already done so. This way you are reminded as to when the next day is ready to listen to, and you also have full-time access to the episode archives where you can either get caught up on the days you missed or listen again to your favorites. If you love snow like I know you do, or if you're from the area bordering southern Ontario and western New York, you know this day very well. It was the blizzard that shut the city of Buffalo down for days and took even longer to recover from. That's tomorrow on This Day in Weather History with me, your host, Chris May.